Pleasure to have you here. Oops. Okay, so good thing we have the recording going. Today we're going to be going over preparing for the end of the school year. I can't believe it's already that time of year again. Like I said, my name is Sarah Story. I'm a benefits marketing rep for the Healthcare Authority on the SEBB side along with Rob. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's go over today's agenda. So first, I'm going to go over some actions that need to happen that correlate with the end of the school year within SEBB My Account. We're going to go over certain employee scenarios. We'll go over some SEBB My Account demonstrations. I have some short videos that I want to show you on how to update certain things. And then a very important topic, some upcoming changes that are happening. So there's going to be some upcoming changes. A few of them that I'm going to talk about includes Navia, some multi-factor authentication and your employees, and then Fuse. That's the biggest one. So stay tuned for our upcoming changes. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up today's webinar with some reminders, tips, and resources.
Hey, Sarah, just a quick note to the participants. For your questions, if you could hold off until we get to that section in the webinar and only ask questions that pertain to this webinar that we're providing you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start by talking about the organization profile in SEBB My Account. So you can see a screenshot of it on the screen here. So first, I want to show you where you need to go to update your first day of school. So you can see on the right of the slide within the organization profile, there's that orange box highlighting the first day of school. So you want to be sure to go in and update this prior to August 1st. So that's key. You can update your first day of school now if you would like. And the reason why it's so important to update your first day of school is because of those newly eligible employees who are eligible at the start of the new school year. If you do not update your first day of school, their coverage will begin the first of the following month instead of their first day of work. So an example for you, let's say your first day of school is September 5th, and you have a newly eligible employee starting on the first day of school. Well, if their coverage should begin September 5th, but if you do not update your first day of school, their coverage will actually begin October 1st. So it makes it to where their effective date, all of that stuff doesn't take effect like it should. Now, if your district has multiple first days of school, you're going to want to enter the latest date. So for example, let's say your high school starts on September 3rd, the junior high starts on September 5th, and then all of your other schools within your district start September 8th. You're going to want to put September 8th as your first day of school, since that is the latest first day of school. Now, if you are an ESD, you're going to want to enter the first working day in September. And just keep in mind that this has to be done every single year. So what I recommend, something I've been telling those when I do those one-on-one trainings, telling those BAs, go ahead and set an annual calendar reminder within your calendar. Just so it pops up every year, let's say July 25th, it pops up and it reminds you to update your first day of school, because we do want to have that updated no later than August 1st, every single year.
So Sarah, I got a question. If I'm a BA and I know my first day of school in April or March, can I go ahead and update it then?
You can, yep.
Okay, great.
You can update it as soon as you know. Okay, so moving down on the organization profile, let's talk about the contact section. So you can see that the contacts are located at the very bottom of the page. And if you click on the Add New Contact button, you will be able to add and remove contacts within there. So we want to be sure to always keep your contacts updated within your organization profile. Now, you can assign multiple different contact types. There is an option for a benefit specialist, insurance billing, payroll, and superintendent, and multiple people can be assigned one contact. If you have multiple people who are benefit specialists within your district, you can list them all in there. So please be sure to add your contacts. I know there are some districts that don't have any updated or any listed at all, so just be sure to get in there. This comes in handy for when us at HCA need to contact someone at your district regarding these specific subjects. We first go to this contact section to see who would be the best person to contact at your district. If there are no contacts listed, we then have to kind of guess and see who would be the best contact. And sometimes we have to contact multiple people to get in touch with the right person. All right, so next I have a short video that I want to show you, and it's about updating the first day of school and then contacts within your organization profile.
All right, so I am in a test environment for SEBB My account, and I am going to actually show you how to update your new first day of school and how to update your SEBB org contacts. So from your admin dashboard in SEBB My account, you would want to navigate to your organization profile page. There's two ways to get to that page. You can either navigate it by clicking on the profile tab here in the white towards the top of the screen, or you can click on the organization profile button here in the middle of the screen. Either way will take you to the same location. So let's go ahead and click the button, and that navigates us to our organization profile page. Now over to the right of the screen in the middle is where your first day of school is going to be located. You can see here that it has the old first day of school, and we need to go ahead and update that. Remember, this has to be updated every single year. It's very critical that it's updated, and it needs to be updated no later than August 1st. So let's go ahead and get this updated. So let's say that our upcoming school year is not going to start until 9/7 of 2021. So we went ahead, we updated that. And then you want to scroll to the bottom of this page and you want to click Submit Changes to save that, or else it's not going to save. So we click the Submit Changes, and you can see it says Record Successfully Saved. So it went ahead and saved. Then at the bottom of this screen, this is where your SEBB org contacts are located. So right now you can see that this SEBB org has one contact listed, Jane Doe, and Jane Doe is listed as a contact as their benefit specialist and their insurance and billing person. Let's say that Jane Doe is actually leaving the district and we need to update and add a contact who is going to be replacing Jane Doe. We simply are just going to click the Add Contact button here on the right-hand side. You click that and a new contact will populate. You click the plus sign next to that, and this is where you're going to input that new contact's information. So let's say, tester is who is taking place. So you need to input their name, email, phone number, and address. So after you get all of their information inputted, you would click what type of contact they are. Now, one contact can be multiple contact types. So as you could see earlier, if I scroll up, that Jane Doe is listed as a benefit specialist and an insurance and billing person. You can also have one contact per contact type. So you can have one benefit specialist, one insurance and billing person, one payroll, and one superintendent, or you can select multiple if that person serves multiple roles in your organization. So let's say tester is actually taking place at Jane Doe and is going to be the benefit specialist and the insurance and billing contact. So you want to check those two boxes, and then you want to click Submit Changes to ensure that all of that information is saved for you. And we mentioned earlier that Jane Doe is actually leaving the district and we need to remove Jane as a contact. You would do that by clicking the plus sign next to the contact that you are needing to delete. And then if you scroll towards the bottom, there is a Remove Contact button here on the right-hand side. So you just click that, and that removes the contact, and you can see now the only contact is tester. And we're going to submit our changes to ensure everything is saved. And that is how you update your new first day of school and update your SEBB org contacts.
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed being able to see a live version within SEBB My account on how to update within the organization profile. So moving on from the organization profile, I want to talk about managing benefit administrator access within SEBB My account. So you should be reviewing and consistently updating the access tab in SEBB My account. Now remember, those who have the admin role assigned, they can assign all user roles except the admin role. So if you need to add or remove someone from the admin role in SEBB My account, you need to fill out the admin appointment/removal form. Now, it's important to know that there are different sections on this form. So the first section that's highlighted in the orange, this should be filled out every single time that this form is being completed and turned in. It just lets us know what SEBB we are working with, and then also lets us know the superintendent's info. The next section needs to be filled out if you are wanting to add an admin. The third section needs to be filled out if you're wanting to remove an admin. And then this last section, this section's missed a lot. This must be signed and dated by your superintendent for both adding and removing someone's admin rights. So just be sure every single time you're turning this in that you have your superintendent sign and date off on it. Then once the form is complete, you can go ahead and email it to the email address that's listed at the bottom of the form for us to go ahead and process. And that email address is hca.sebitsupport@hca.wa.gov. All right, so let's go ahead and start talking about the different types of employees going into the new school year and getting ready for the end of this school year. So first, I want to talk about returning eligible employees. So for returning eligible employees, their benefit elections are going to remain the same until December 31st of 2022. So that includes their plan selections and their FSA and DCAP contributions. They will be able to make changes during the next annual open enrollment, which the annual open enrollment is for 2022 is going to be from October 31st to November 21st, with new elections being effective January 1st of 2023. And then there are some changes that employees can make all year round. That includes enrolling or changing their supplemental life, AD&D, and employee paid LTD. They can submit special open enrollment events, and they can change their employee contributions for HSAs at any time. All right, so now let's get into the little bit more complicated scenario. So first, we're going to talk about those employees who are not returning next school year. All right, so our first scenario, we have Noah. Noah is an eligible school employee working at Granite Falls School District and is resigning employment effective August 5th. So the employer contribution towards SEBB benefits will end August 31st, since Noah is leaving August 5th. You would want to go in and terminate this employee's coverage in SEBB My account. And you would want to complete and provide the C3 eligibility worksheet. That is letting him know that he is no longer eligible for benefits, and it gives him the date when his benefits will be ending. And then the SEBB program will mail the SEBB continuation coverage election notice to that employee, and that booklet includes enrollment forms for COBRA. Now, the key message here for this scenario is you, the BA, will want to be sure to always be terming employees timely in SEBB My account. That's very, very important. So in this scenario, you can term this employee as early as July 1st, the first of the month prior to them ending benefits. And then I also want to point out that the SEBB program automatically mails out those SEBB continuation coverage election notices, and they are mailed out to employees approximately 2 weeks after their coverage termination terminates in SEBB My account. All right, so let's talk about someone who's retiring. So we have Tyson. Tyson has decided to retire and submits his letter of resignation effective June 17th. He is planning to enroll in PEB retiree coverage effective July 1st. So with this, the employer contribution towards SEBB benefits will end June 30th, since he is resigning effective June 17th. So you would want to get in and terminate this employee's coverage in SEBB My account timely. Remember, you can always do it the first of the month prior is the earliest you're able to do that. So you'd be able to get in and terminate them May 1st. You can put in their termination date if you'd like. And then you'd want to complete and provide the C4 worksheet, since this employee is retiring. Now, one thing for those retiring employees, if they want to have a PEB retiree enrollment guide, that is not automatically mailed to them. They have to reach out and actually request to have a guide be mailed to them. So if they would like to have a guide mailed to them, they can contact our PEB customer service line, and that number is listed here on the screen. So you can give this number out to them. They can reach out. It's 800-200-1004. And then, of course, since this employee's coverage is terminating, the SEBB program will automatically mail that SEBB continuation coverage election notice for their COBRA coverage. And like I said, that's about 14 days after their coverage is terminated in SEBB My Account. So I do want to point out that the Outreach and Training Unit is hosting monthly PED retiree webinars now through December. So this is a great opportunity for your employees to get more information. So like I said, we're hosting monthly webinars for those employees who are thinking about retiring, and if they would just like a general overview of their health insurance options as a retiree through the PED program. So if your employees are considering retiring soon, they can register now to attend a live webinar. All of the registration dates are open up for every month through December. And employees can find the registration page for these webinars on the HCA website. They would go to the Employee and Retiree Benefits webpage. They would navigate to the retiree section that you can see, and then they would want to click on the Preparing for Retirement link highlighted in the orange box. Once they click that link, it will take them to the Preparing for Retirement webpage. They would then want to click on Attend a Retirement Webinar. Once they click on that Attend a Retirement Webinar, it will show them all of the open registrations for future webinars that we have listed. So this is a great resource. And this isn't just for employees, I want to point out. It's also a great idea for you, the BA, just to attend at least one of these webinars so you can have a general idea. In case one of your employees does come with you with a basic question, you can equip yourself to be able to answer that for them. All right, so next I want to get into some transferring scenarios. So our first scenario, we have Tyler. Tyler is an eligible employee at Auburn School District and is enrolled in SEBB benefits. Now he has decided to take a new position with Kent School District starting on September 3rd, and his last day with Auburn will be August 17th. So in this scenario, Auburn School District would want to contact Kent School District and confirm that Tyler will be eligible for benefits at Kent School District. So once they confirm that he is eligible for benefits, Auburn would then enter a transfer effective date in SEBB My Account of August 17th. That's very important. You would put a transfer effective date as long as that employee is eligible at their next district. That date would be August 17th. Kent School District would then begin to add Tyler in SEBB My Account as a new employee once he starts with their district. And once SEBB My Account recognizes that Tyler has an existing profile within SEBB My Account, Kent will then have the option to claim Tyler's account. Now, in this scenario, Tyler would not receive new elections unless his health plan is no longer available. But of course, he can make new elections when the next annual open enrollment comes around in October. All right, so here's another transferring scenario. So we have Ariana. Ariana works for Battleground School District and submits her letter of resignation with an effective date of June 15th. Now she plans to move to Willow Public Schools effective July 5th, or sorry, July 1st. So in this scenario, Battleground School District will want to confirm with Willow Public Schools that Ariana will be eligible at their district when she moves over. Now, once they confirm that she will be eligible for benefits, they will want to put a transfer effective date of June 15th in SEBB My Account for her. Now, Willow Public Schools determined that Ariana was eligible on her first day of work, July 1st with them. And how they determined her eligibility is they used that mid-hire rule. So they anticipate for her to be compensated 17.5 hours in 6 of the last 8 weeks of the school year. So remember, that is that mid-hire rule. And she is also anticipated to work at least 630 hours next school year, beginning in September. So in this scenario, Ariana will receive uninterrupted coverage from Battleground School District moving over to Willow Public Schools. So she will not receive new elections unless, of course, her plan is no longer available. Then her next opportunity to make new elections would be during the next annual open enrollment, unless, of course, she incurs a special open enrollment event. Okay, so let's talk about someone who may seem like a transfer, but they're not quite a transfer. So we have Sophia, who works for ESD 101 and submits her letter of resignation with an effective date of June 15th. And she plans to move and work for Vancouver School District effective July 27th. So let's say ESD 101, they reach out to Vancouver to see if she will be eligible for benefits. And Vancouver says, no, she will not be eligible right away. Well, ESD 101 will want to put a termination effective date in SEBB My account. So that's key. She's not a transfer. You need to put in a termination effective date. And that would be for June 15th, her last day of work with them. They also will want to complete and provide the C3 worksheet for her employment ending. Now, I want to point out again that this is not a transfer because Sophia is not eligible for coverage with Vancouver School District. So in this scenario, let's say Vancouver determines Sophia is not anticipated to be compensated 17.5 hours in 6 of the last 8 weeks of the school year. So she does not qualify for that mid-year hire rule. So she will not be eligible for July or August coverage. However, she is anticipated to work 630 hours the next school year. So keep in mind that every new school year, eligibility needs to be redetermined for employees. So they anticipate her to work 630 hours the next school year. So she would then be eligible for benefits again, her first day of work in the new school year. And then Vancouver would then want to complete and provide the A1 worksheet to this employee as they are a newly eligible employee, and she would receive new elections.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes.
I'm getting a lot of questions on if they don't know if they're transferring to another school district or not. And Sarah's going to cover this during the presentation. If you don't know, just term the employee. The new school district can go ahead and claim their account once they enter them as a new employee. Not a problem.
Yes, so that is actually my next slide. So great transition into that. So I came up with a little slogan last night when I was laying in bed. So my little slogan is, when in doubt, term them out. So BAs who are uncertain if that employee is going to be eligible for SEBB benefits at the employee's new SEBB org, go ahead and just term out that employee. Of course, you can reach out to the new district. You can access a report in SEBB My account called the Benefits Admin Contact List, and you can reach out to the district to confirm that employee's eligibility. But if for some reason you are unable to confirm that employee's eligibility, or the district let you know that no, they are not eligible for benefits, go ahead and just term that employee out, enter a termination effective date and SEBB My account. If that employee ends up being a transfer, the new SEBB organization is still going to be able to pick up that employee as a transfer when entering in that employee as a new subscriber. It'll recognize that, hey, this employee should actually be a transfer, and it will take care of that employee's profile. So when in doubt, term them out. Kind of cheesy, but something to help you remember. Okay, so I want to talk about entering in termination dates and transfer dates. So this is within the employee's employment tab. You'll see where you will be able to enter the employee's termination reason and effective date here in the orange box. So if this employee is not eligible at their new district, they're ending employment with your district, or you're not able to confirm with their district, their new district, whether they're eligible for benefits or not, go ahead and just term them out. So go ahead and put a termination reason and a termination effective date in there. And on this same tab, you also can see where you would transfer the subscriber. So you would go ahead and just enter in a transfer effective date and click submit changes. Now, remember, if you are entering an employee as a transfer, the employee needs to be eligible at their new SEBB org. So if you're not 100% certain that they are going to be eligible for benefits at their new SEBB org, term their coverage. Okay, because then the new SEBB org can go ahead and claim that employee's profile, even though you put in a termination date for that employee. Okay, so that wraps up transferring. Let's talk about those employees who worked their 630th hour in the month of August. So Kiana works for Bremerton School District and was anticipated to only work 550 hours in the school year, but ends up reaching 630 hours worked on August 5th. So there's a few different ways that this scenario can go. So if Kiana is anticipated to work 630 hours in the next school year, she would be eligible for benefits effective September 1st, the first of the following month. However, if Kiana is not anticipated to work 630 hours in the next school year, she will not become eligible for benefits in the current or the new school year. So it all depends on whether that employee is eligible or is anticipated to work 630 hours in the next school year. However, here's another way this scenario can go. Let's say in this same scenario, Kiana is eligible due to the 2-year look back rule. So this means that she worked 630 hours both this school year and the previous school year, and is returning to the same type of position and at the same SEBB org next school year. Kiana would be presumed eligible for benefits beginning September 1st due to that 2-year look back. Now, keep in mind that the SEBB org may rebut this by letting the employee know in writing. So the letter would need to include specific reasons on why this employee is not anticipated to work 630 hours in the upcoming school year, resulting in them not being eligible for benefits. So there's 4 possible outcomes with someone who worked that 630th hour in August. And if you ever are questioning, you can always send us in a fuse. If you're wondering and you just want to make sure you have it right, feel free to always send us in a fuse and we can help you out with this. Okay, so let's get into some approved leave scenarios. And when we say approved leave scenarios, we're talking about someone who's on leave from one school year going into the next school year. So our first one is just FMLA. So Michaela is an eligible school employee at Davenport School District. She's placed on approved FMLA in the month of August, and at that time, the BA completed and provided the C2 worksheet. The C2 worksheet is for when the employee is leaving on FMLA leave. And let's say that approved leave lasts until October 16th. Now, Michaela is anticipated to work 630 hours in the new school year, so for the 22-23 school year. So in this scenario, SEBB benefits would continue uninterrupted. This employee would receive no new elections. No action needs to be taken in SEBB My Account. And then this employee would need to wait until the next annual open enrollment to make any election changes or new elections. So this one's pretty straightforward. Let's get into a different scenario. So with this new scenario, we have someone who is on FMLA and PFML. So Isabella is an eligible school employee at North Shore School District. She was approved for FMLA and PFML in the month of August. And at that time, the BA completed and provided the C2 worksheet to her. Now, let's say the FMLA lasts until October 30th. And then the key here is that the PFML has to overlap the FMLA coverage for at least 1 day in order for the PFML to be a protected leave for this employee. So in this scenario, the PFML overlaps the FMLA by 1 day, and that extends their protected leave for another 4 weeks, ending November 27th. However, after November 27th, Isabella then goes on approved leave without pay, so she does not return to work. So as a result of this, she is not anticipated to work 630 hours in this school year. So in this scenario, coverage would terminate November 30th. That is the last day in the month in which the PFML, or the employee's protected leave, had ended. Okay, so that wraps up our scenarios for the end of the school year. Now I want to talk about SEBB My Account, and then I have a few short videos like the last one that I want to show you of me navigating within SEBB My Account. So first, let's talk about termination of coverage. So you want to terminate coverage no earlier than the first of the month prior for employees who are leaving your SEBB organization, or for those employees who are not eligible for the next school year. Now, you would want to terminate coverage for these employees losing eligibility prior to August 12th to have them be removed from your September billing file. It's okay if you don't get around to it prior to August 12th. Just keep in mind that they will still show up on your September billing file, and then they should fall off on the October billing file. So you'll just want to keep that in mind. Now, coverage is not going to end automatically for employees on August 31st. You actually have to tell the system to end their benefits. So that's why I'm pointing this out. It's very important that those employees who are leaving your SEBB org, or who are no longer going to be eligible in the next school year, you need to end their benefits. You need to tell the system to get their benefits terminated. Now, for those employees who are losing eligibility and having their benefits ended, you need to provide the appropriate C-Series eligibility worksheet. Now, if eligibility worksheets is a new term to you, or you're not familiar with them, send in a few, and Rob and I can meet with you one-on-one, and we can do a training just on the eligibility worksheets, because it's really, really important. It's actually a requirement that SEBB orgs are using these worksheets. And then, of course, the SEBB program is going to automatically mail out the employee's SEBB continuation coverage election notice approximately 2 weeks after their coverage is terminated. So for termination dates that require correction, so for a term date that needs to be changed within the same month, you can update those dates in SEBB My Account because there is no effect on the date coverage ends. So for example, let's say you entered a May 5th as a term date when it should have actually been May 20th for an employee. Well, you can go ahead and correct that in SEBB My Account on your own, because with either date, coverage would still term May 31st. Now, this is one that you need to pay attention to. So for term dates outside of the same month, we ask that you please send in a fuse for us to go ahead and make the changes. And the reason why we need that is because outreach and training has to handle these situations to ensure both systems, meaning SEBB My Account, the system that you work in, and then our backend system, which we call Pay One, we have to make sure that they are all totally updated and they all read the same across the board. So for example, let's say you enter a term date of March 5th in SEBB My Account, but it should have actually been April 5th. So this is when you would want to send in a fuse for us to make this correction, because the coverage term dates change when switching months. So just be sure to send in a fuse, even if the system allows you to change the term dates. If it's outside of the same month, just send us in a fuse so we can make sure Pay One reads correctly and that employee's coverage is terminated. All right, next I want to show you a short video demonstrating on how to term an employee's coverage in SEBB My Account.
Hi again. So now I'm here to show you how to terminate an employee. You would want to do this if an employee is no longer going to be continuing with your district for the next school year, or maybe they're going into a position that's not benefit eligible and you need to terminate their benefits. So you would want to start by being on your admin dashboard, and then you would want to navigate to your Manage Subscribers page. There's two ways you can get to that, either by clicking the Subscribers white tab towards the top of the screen, or you can click the Manage Subscribers button here where my cursor is on the left-hand side. Either way takes you to the same location. So I'm going to click that, and that brings us to our Manage Subscribers page. You would then need to search for your employee. So I'm going to search for my employee by their last name. So you type in their last name, click search, and then you want to verify that it brought up the correct employee because you don't want to terminate someone's coverage who doesn't need to be terminated. So we have Tom, Jerry. I'm going to verify that yes, this is the last four of their social and this is the correct birthday. So we have the correct employee. You click the checkbox next to Tom, Jerry, or your employee's name and click the Manage Associated Subscriber button. And then that will open up Tom, Jerry, or your employee's information down below. So you scroll down, it automatically takes you to your subscriber's current coverage page or coverage summary page. You would want to navigate to the employment tab here on the top left. You click on that, and then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, this is where you would terminate subscriber, and this is also where you would transfer a subscriber if this employee is transferring to another district. But in this scenario, we're going to show you how to terminate a subscriber. So you need to select a termination reason. Let's say Tom Jerry is just leaving employment. They're not continuing with our district anymore. So you click that, and then you want to put in their termination effective date. In this scenario, let's say that Tom Jerry is terminating a little bit early. So let's say 5/20 of 2021 is when Tom Jerry is going to be terminating from our district. It then comes up with a warning and it says, are you sure you want to terminate coverage for this member? If this member is the primary subscriber on an account, their dependents coverage will be terminated as well. So yes, we want to go ahead. Tom Jerry already put in their letter of resignation. They're resigning effective 5/20 of 2021. And then you just want to simply click the terminate coverage button. And then it's going to load and it says subscriber successfully updated and saved. So now Tom Jerry is terminated effective 5/20 of 2021, meaning that Tom Jerry's last day of coverage is going to be the last day in May. And that is how you terminate an employee.
All right. So next I want to get into, this is also a very important part of our presentation, some upcoming changes that are happening within the SEBB program. So I just want to point out that Smart Health had a new platform. It went live April 12th of this year. And there is a new app for employees if they would wish to download the app on their phone to use Smart Health. And just a reminder that Smart Health is included in SEBB benefits, so it's no cost to your employees to utilize Smart Health. So some changes that are happening with Navia. So remember, Navia is the carrier for the FSA and DCAP benefits. So there was a Gov delivery sent out on May 4th. So hopefully you received that Gov delivery. This also brings me to a good reminder. Be sure that you are signed up for Gov delivery if you are not already. You can sign up on the BA website. But Gov delivery is what we utilize to communicate important updates, notices, just important information to the benefit administrators. So be sure you're signed up for Gov delivery. But Navia is actually going to be implementing a new employer portal within the Navia website for BAs to use for the FSA and DCAP benefits. So we are going to be hosting webinars both on June 8th and June 17th. Both webinars are going to have the same exact information, so you only need to attend one. But within these webinars, we are going to have a Navia benefit solution rep who's going to be presenting information on this new employer portal. So registration is open and live, and it's available on the BA website to get registered for either of those webinars. If you're not able to attend either of these webinars, we are going to record at least one of them, and we will post it to the BA website once we get that recorded. And the go live date for this employer portal is set for mid to late July of this year. So talking about SEBB My Account, employees are now going to be required to have the multi-factor authentication. They're going to have to do that every time they go to log in beginning June 2nd for SEBB My Account. So just like you do today, when you log into SEBB My Account, you have to either have that 6-digit code either emailed to you or texted to you. Well, now employees are going to have to be doing that now when they go to log into SEBB My Account for the first time, and every time after June 2nd. And then just a reminder, there's not going to be any changes to the employee's login credentials. It's just an extra step that they're going to have to take, just so the system can verify that they are who they say they are. And we plan on sending out more information and details via Gov Delivery on the 18th of May and then June 1st. So be on the lookout for Gov Deliveries on that. And I believe one of the Gov Deliveries will contain a forwardable message that we want you to forward to your employees. So be on the lookout for that. All right, so the Healthcare Authority websites are getting a refreshed look. So that includes the SEBB BA website. So there's going to be a new look, new layout, new menu navigation, but there's not going to be a change in any existing web links. All of the web pages are going to have the same content. It's just going to have a different look. So we are going to have more information coming mid-July, and these changes will take effect July of 2022, late in July. All right, and then our biggest upcoming change, we are transitioning from Fuse. So beginning June 6th, we are no longer going to be using Fuse secured messaging. We are going to be moving to a HCA support platform. So it's a new platform starting June 6th. So be on the lookout for a Gov Delivery, more to come with details on all of the changes that are happening, and a lot of details via Gov Delivery we'll be sending out. All right, so let's get into some reminders, tips, and resources. So of course, we have the Benefit Administrator website. Keep in mind, the BA website is where you need to be going to access and utilize the employee eligibility tools and worksheets. So those are those worksheets I was explaining during the scenarios that you need to be giving to your employees. And then of course, we have outreach and training. We have the phone number that you can call. It's 800-700-1555 if you have a pressing matter or question that you need to get answered. And then, of course, we have Fuse secured messaging, soon to be the HCA support platform, more to come on that. But just keep in mind that the phone number for outreach and training, Fuse secured messaging, and then also that HCA support platform that we're going to be moving to, that is only for BAs. This should not be given out to employees for them to contact. This is only for benefit administrators, a resource for you to be able to contact us. And then just a little heads up that this week on May 11th, the employee intercom newsletter was sent out or mailed, emailed or mailed to your employees. So in case you get any questions, it's just the quarterly intercom newsletter that they receive. All right, so a terminating coverage reminder. So keep in mind that school employees who have reached 630 hours in the school year are going to maintain their SEBB benefits through the end of the school year. And when we say through the end of the school year, we mean August 31st. Unless, of course, their employment was terminated early. Let's say they put in their letter of resignation, then their benefits could end sooner than August 31st. But for those who are staying with your district and have reached 630 hours, they should maintain their benefits until August 31st. Now, for school employees who do not work over the summer months, they should not have their coverage termed early. So let's say the last day of school is June 5th, they work their 630 hours, they should still maintain their benefits until August 31st. All right, and then my favorite subject, the date of eligibility.
Yay.
So, so I just want to remind everyone that, well, there was a Gov delivery sent out on April 4th, and it went over the date of eligibility. So remember that the date of eligibility is the date an employee has established eligibility for SEBB benefits. It is not their effective date of coverage. So the date of eligibility, that begins the employee's 31-day benefit election window. It is not the date that their benefits are effective. So the key here is that SEBB My Account is automatically going to calculate the date benefits are effective based off of the date of eligibility that is entered into SEBB My Account. You're never, ever, ever going to put the effective date of coverage in SEBB My Account for an employee. So let's go over a quick example. So let's say an eligible employee's first day of work is June 20th. SEBB My Account is automatically going to calculate July 1st as the effective date of coverage because the employee's first day of work and their eligibility date is June 20th. So you would want to put June 20th in SEBB My Account as that employee's date of eligibility. Now, by incorrectly entering July 1st as the date of eligibility in SEBB My Account, the employee's benefits will not be effective until August 1st. So that's why it's so important that you get your employee's date of eligibility correct in the system.
I think we had a situation like this, Sarah, where the BA entered November 1st because they wanted their coverage to start, and then the coverage didn't start until December 1st.
Yes,
That
so
was an issue.
And another tool to help you determine the date of eligibility for an employee, fill out the eligibility worksheet for your employee prior to even entering them in SEBB My Account. That way you can refer to that worksheet and it will tell you the date of eligibility when you're actually entering the employee into the system. Now, if you discover that you entered in an incorrect date of eligibility in SEBB My Account, it's very important that you do not attempt to correct or fix the issue in SEBB My Account once you have submitted the incorrect date of eligibility. What you'll want to go ahead and do, you'll want to go ahead and send us a fuse indicating that there is an employee's date of eligibility that needs to be adjusted. And then our O&T staff will go ahead and make the necessary adjustments. And the reason why we have to be the ones to make the adjustments is because it's a 3-day process. We have to terminate the coverage, let the system update, and then we have to put the correct date of eligibility into the system. And we have to make sure that not only SEBB My Account, but our backend system, Pay1, reads the employee's correct date of eligibility and makes their benefits take effect on the correct date. So just remember, you never, ever, ever are going to put the effective date of coverage in SEBB My Account. You always will put the eligibility date, and SEBB My Account will automatically calculate when the employee's benefits should be taking effect. All right, and then just another reminder, we had our SEBB My Account billing file updated. We did send out a Gov delivery on the 18th of March. It went ahead and explained how we added a column for the LTD enrollment. So field number 21 is now going to include the following values. So you'll see a D for default, a B for buy down, and then an N for decline or not enrolled. So hopefully you've already seen this since it took effect April 16th, but if not, just be on the lookout for that. All right, and then let's go ahead and go over our upcoming webinars that we have. So like I mentioned, we have 2 Navia webinars coming up. So we have on June 8th from 1 to 2 and June 17th from 10 to 11. Both of these are going to be the same webinars. It's just we wanted to put out 2 dates in case you couldn't attend one. And Each of these webinars are going to be going over the new SEBB FSA DCAP Navia employer portal that Navia is putting into effect. And then August 5th from 10 to 11:30, we're going to be going over the preparing for the start of the new school year. So registration is open for all 3 of these webinars. So be sure to get on and register. And of course, these webinars are going to be recorded and posted to the BA website if you're unable to attend one, or if you just want to rewatch one of the webinars that you attended. All right, and with that being said, that concludes today's webinar. So let's go ahead. I'm going to look at some questions and see if we can answer any questions live. Rob, feel free to chime in if you have any.
Sarah, there is one that I might need you to go back to the slide. It's I know to use the C1, but Sarah stated on approved leave FMLA slide to use the C2. Can you remember which slide that was and explain that to Judith? She had a question about that.
Let me stop. Give me just a second. Let me stop sharing and find it. Approved leave. Okay, so was it FMLA and PFML or just FMLA? Either way, you would want to use the C2 worksheet. The C2 worksheet, I believe it's the C2 worksheet. It covers those who are on protected approved leave. Any other questions you want to answer live?
No, so she had that question about the C2. So the C2 is used if you're on FMLA and PFML with over 1 day overlapping both types of leave. That's when you'd use the C2.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that answers your question, Judith.
So I see one, it says, we often meet with employees prior to the date of eligibility and go over their benefits with them. When they leave our office, it's fresh in their minds, but they cannot actually enroll until the date of eligibility. It would be really nice if they could enroll when we add them into the SEBB portal. We could still give them their 31 days from eligibility date, but allow them to make choices prior to their date of eligibility. Unfortunately, that's just how they have SEBB My Account set up. Where the employee is not able to actually successfully log in and make elections until on or after their date of eligibility. But I can definitely pass this along to our IT team to see if there's any possibility of maybe considering switching that. But as of right now, that's just how it is.
Did you answer the question? Oh, okay, you just answered that one.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we had a slide with Isabel example. I'm not sure what was on the slide, but Nicole was asking something. Wouldn't you also need a C1 to end benefits for that slide? Do you remember that one? Was it Isabel?
Not by heart, but I can pull it up. Isabel. So that is a great catch. Yes, you would want to also give that employee a C series worksheet, letting them know that their benefits are actually, or not a C series, I have them all mixed up. The series where the coverage is terminating, letting them know that they're no longer eligible for benefits.
And she said, would you also need a C1 to end benefits? It depends on how.
Not a C1 to end benefits. When coverage is actually terminating, you would want to provide them with, let's see. I'm pulling up the website really quick.
So Kimberly,
yes, you would want to. Sorry, you would want to use a C1.
Okay.
Once they are no longer eligible for benefits, you would want to use that.
So Kimberly had one. if on PFML approved only, the ability for continuing coverage is contingent on if the employee has already worked 630, correct? So PFML alone does not guarantee them that they're going to stay with SEBB benefits. So yeah, if they've already worked or they're still anticipated to work 630, then you can continue benefits. But if not, then you can term benefits.
Do we need to take into account the state of emergency pertaining to not being allowed to terminate employees' benefits? Yes. So state of emergency is still on, is it 6189, Senate Bill 6189?
Yeah.
It's still in effect. So yes, you want to take that into accountability, or take it into an account when you're getting in and evaluating your employee and their eligibility. We will send out a Gov delivery with guidance once the state of emergency has ended. We don't know exactly when that's going to be. It's whenever the governor announces it. But yes, take that into accountability going, or into consideration going into the new school year and the end of this year.
So Kelsey had a question. If an employee is on PFML leave and it doesn't overlap FMLA, the employee has already worked 630. Right there, if the employees already work 630, then they're good till August 31st. Do we end SEBB benefits? No. Or do they remain eligible because, yeah, because
Yep, so
they aren't, yeah.
They would remain eligible as long as they're still an employee with your district because they have already worked that 630 hours.
Yeah, Kim, again, we do touch bases one-on-one with benefit administrators. So if you were thrown into the position, please reach out to us, send us a fuse, let us know that you'd like some SEBB training. We've had a lot of new SEBB benefit administrators training because people are thrown in there and having to try to learn on their own. So please reach out to us, and we can schedule something to meet with you one-on-one. Go over overview of SEBB My Account, how it works, to include the resources that are available and answer any of your questions that you have. So if you still have a lot of questions about the SEBB program, please reach out to us and schedule some one-on-one training with us.
Yeah, you don't have to be new. If there's even a specific subject, like I said earlier, if you're wanting just to get some one-on-one training or just have like a Q&A session on a specific subject, like the eligibility worksheets, when coverage should be ending, anything, you can just send in a fuse and that fuse will get routed to Rob or I, and we will reach out to you to set something up. Typically we schedule about 2 hours, depending on what we're covering, to just use that time to help you learn the different resources and train you on specific subjects to help you in your role.
And Rochelle had one, historical fuse be visible in the new platform. Hopefully they'll send a Gov delivery out. Yeah, more to come on that. But any fuses that are opening, they'll transfer over to the new system. Historical data, fuses that have been answered in the past, I can't answer that. But hopefully in the new Gov delivery, they'll be able to answer that question.
Yep, unfortunately, we know as much as we put on the slide. So with those new updates and upcoming changes, be sure that you're signed up for Gov delivery, and stay tuned for more details to come. Just going through these. So there's one in here. It says, we enter our employees' dates of eligibility correctly. Sarah says that SEBB My Account should correctly calculate the coverage effective date, yet we have numerous instances of employees enrolling in SEBB My Account gives them a coverage effective date an entire month later than it should be. So let's say the date of eligibility is 3/28, coverage should begin 4/1. The employee enrolls in April, it says coverage takes effect 5/1. That should not be happening as long as if you're putting in the correct date of eligibility of 3/28, it should be 4/1 is their effective date. So if you're running into instances like that, send in a fuse with the employee's information so we can take a look at that. Because to our knowledge, as long as the correct date of eligibility is getting put into the account for the employee's account, we have not seen any errors happening with coverage beginning an incorrect month. So with the state of emergency still in effect, does that mean that if we have an employee going on a leave of absence, they would still get benefits? So as long, you need to review the 6189 because if that employee meets those circumstances, then they would still get benefits.
So we are getting a lot of questions that employees are starting in August 23rd, or the first day of school is in August. So those employees that are starting employment, their first day of work in August, their benefits will start September 1st. Keep in mind, again, the school year runs from September 1st all the way to August 31st. So if they even start August 10th and they're eligible for the next year, then their benefits would start September 1st.
If you need one-on-one training, don't send us an email, send in a fuse. Send in a fuse and that fuse will get routed to Rob and I, and we will answer and reach out via fuse. Some of these questions is going to require some research just because there's different policies and WACs that we'll have to take a look at to make sure we're getting you the correct answer. So if we are not able to, if we're not addressing your question, that is probably why. So is there something on the SEBB website for the 6189 state of emergency guidelines? Yes, there is. It would be under notices and updates, and there's a whole COVID-19 section. And in that section, you'll be able to see gov deliveries that were sent out as well as links to 6189.
Kelsey had one about the questions and answers from this session. We do reply to your questions. We don't send all the questions that were asked during every webinar to everyone. We do reply if you had a question. And I sent a copy of the slides last night to everyone, so you should have everything that we presented minus the transitions that are happening within the slides. You should have all the information that we presented today. And if you didn't, go ahead and email us and let us know. I could send you a copy of that.
Mm-hmm. I see one. I've been trying to change my first day of school since the beginning of this training. Still no luck. They're getting that spinning wheel. If you are encountering an error and unable to update your first day of school, you can send in a fuse and we can get that updated for you. Remember, you need to update that first day of school prior to August 1st. So there's conflicting information about when we end SEBB benefits on staff whose last day with the district is in June and will not be returning in September. They are not retiring, just leaving the district. Would their coverage continue through August if they work 630 hours, or do we end benefits in June? So if this employee is, if you're not considering them an employee with your district anymore, they are absolutely just ending their employment in June. Benefits would end in June. Now, if they are staying on with your district as an employee, through the school year, but they are not returning just in September, they would be eligible for benefits through August since they already worked that 630 hours. So the key there is whether or not your district considers them an employee still until the end of the school year. If you do not, then you can end their benefits.
And you can find more information. Again, I believe there's 7 situations or scenarios where an employee's benefits would end earlier than August 31st. And you can find that information in WAC 182-3150. When does eligibility for employer contribution for school employees benefits end? So again, it's that relationship, that employment relationship has been terminated either by the SEBB org or by the employee, you could end benefits. And again, there's 7 reasons. So take a look at that WAC there, 182-3150.
So I see one, if an employee is on FMLA with continued benefits and they are enrolled in supplemental LTD, do they have to keep paying their LTD deduction since our invoice to Navio will be reduced since the employee is not getting paid? So if that employee is still enrolled in LTD while they're on FMLA, it is up to the district to make an arrangement with the employee to collect premiums for the benefits that the district is paying for the employee's portion. You'll have to make an arrangement with them to get the benefits or get the premiums collected.
If you're registered for Gov Delivery, but you're not getting the Gov Deliveries coming from our unit, you can always go back in there, enter your email address. It'll say whether you already have a Gov Delivery account or not. And you can always check or uncheck boxes to receive Gov Deliveries. You should be looking at outreach and training for SEBB program and check that box in order to get Gov Deliveries from us. Again, all state agencies, you can receive Gov Deliveries from DOL or DSHS. Again, you want to look for that outreach and training checkbox.
So 6189, I have one on here, only applies to the 2021 school year. That is incorrect. 6189 is in effect until the state of emergency is ended. We're still in a state of emergency. So 6189 still applies and will still apply until the state of emergency has been declared done. Are substitutes included in the benefits ending August if reached 630? Yes. So with the SEBB program, an employee is an employee, whether they're a cook, a substitute, a paraeducator, a regular teacher, a principal. An employee is an employee. So it doesn't matter whether they're a substitute or not. They're an employee, and so they're going to be included in their benefits ending in August if they have reached 630 and they're still considered an employee with your district. That's something we get a lot. So I'll say that again. Substitutes are just like any other employee. So the SEBB program does not have different classifications of employees. An employee is an employee, including substitutes.
And I'm sending that WAC out again when SEBB benefits in for the employee in those different 7 scenarios there. It's WAC 182-31050.
Would I just wait until September 1st to transfer in new employees and wait to transfer out till the end of August for leaving employees? You don't have to wait until September 1st or August. You can do it now. You just want to make sure that you have your dates correctly. So if you're transferring employees out, you just want to make sure that you're actually putting in the correct transfer effective date. And when you're transferring employees in, you just want to make sure that you have the correct eligibility date when you're transferring them in.
So do employees on PFML working only 2 days a week and have already worked 630 hours for the year? So if they've already worked 630 hours again, their benefits don't stop until August 31st. And it's saying, do they still need a C-Series worksheet? So if they're not eligible for the new school year, then yes, you would need a C-Series worksheet to end their benefits August 31st. But if they've already worked their 630 hours this current year, then they're good for the entire year, school year.
So I have an employee starting a new position as an admin with effective date of July 1st. That person is a teacher currently and is contracted through August with us.
So does that mean that employee is only going to work 2 months? Or are you talking about the
They're
following
currently
August?
I guess Brenda, I'm not sure what your question is. Can you clarify what exactly your question is? So if an employee is on approved leave without pay and is determined to lose coverage, are you saying we cannot terminate their benefits because of the state of emergency? Again, go take a look at ESSB 6189. If the employee was benefit eligible, I believe it was prior to February 29th of 2020, they're still covered by ESSB 6189. But go out, take a look at that Senate bill, and if that employee meets the parameters, then they are still protected.
I think Brenda answered about this new employee. So if it's a new employee, why would you transfer them? And if they're moving to another SEBB org, then you just enter that transfer date that they're leaving your SEBB org. And again, the transfer rule is they must be eligible for SEBB benefits at not only the old school district, but also the new one as well. You have to be eligible at both in order to be considered a transfer.
Oh, Nicole said ESSB 6189 is now written in RCW 40.05.744. Thank you. Thank you for that bit of information. Again, that was RCW 40.05.744.
Brenda, I hope we answered your question. If not, go ahead and send us another message here. Just a little confused about the new employee is starting, but they need to be transferred.
Oh, the employee is going to a new school district after August. You can, so if they are going to a new school district, Brenda, I'm going to reach out to you after the webinar. There's some other questions that I want to ask, so I'll reach out to you after the webinar. Oh, and there was actually a correction made. So the RCW that has ESSB written in it, it's 41-05 or 41.05.745. That's the RCW. 41.05.745. Thank you, Nicole.
So Cindy, she didn't have a question, but she had a comment about doing an updated LTD webinar. I know during the pre-open enrollment for last year, I covered a lot on the new LTD options and enrollment and how that works. So take a look at that video on our BA website. There's a large section on the pre-annual open enrollment when it talks about dual enrollment and the LTD benefit, how that's changing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have one here. I have an administrator whose contract ends on June 30th of 2022. She is remaining with the district, but is just moving to a certified role effective in August. She has worked 630 hours. Do I keep her benefits for July and August? She filled out a resignation form with an effective date of June 30th, but isn't actually leaving the district, just moving to a new position within the same district, if that makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. So since that employee already worked 630 hours this school year and is remaining an employee with your district, they are eligible to stay on benefits until the end of August. And then come September 1st, you need to reevaluate their eligibility. So I'm not sure if their new position would allow them to work 630 hours or not, but that's something that you would need to redetermine come September 1st.
So Nicole sent us that, the new RCW, and you can find this on the BA website under update notices. If you scroll all the way down under COVID-19 guidance, you'll find the first one, Gov delivery, that was sent out June 22nd. It's updated guidance for employees' eligibility subject to RCW 41.05-744 or .744. You can read that information on how you would work with employees that fall under that RCW.
All right. Well, with that being said, I don't see any new questions. There are some questions that we'll have to follow up on. We need to look at the different WACs and stuff, so that's why we haven't addressed them. So we'll go ahead and conclude today's webinar. I want to thank you for attending and participating. Hopefully you learned new bits of information and were able to get some good reminders. So happy Friday, and I hope you all have a great week or great weekend. Do you want to end the recording, Rob?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and end it.